Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parent Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Crazy religious aunt throws a statue at me when she finds out I'm an atheist. After that, boss wanted me to train my replacement, but I didn't even work there anymore. And after that, guy who stole $2,000 worth of equipment from our store came back the same day we found out what he looked like. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen gets a statue thrown back at her. So please smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Crazy religious aunt throws a statue at me when she finds out I'm an atheist. Cast. We've got me, my entitled aunt, my cool cousin, and my mom. Background. I come from a religious background, but I am an atheist. Mom and cool cousin knew that, but entitled aunt didn't. It was a Saturday evening. Cool cousin and entitled aunt came over to visit us because we just came back from abroad. So while mom and entitled aunt were chatting, me and cool cousin were playing Assassin's Creed. When we are almost done, entitled aunt barges in the room and begins watching us. Entitled aunt: "What is the game you are playing about?" Cool cousin: "It's about taking out targets during the Third Crusade." Entitled aunt: "But OP, you know that these actions are forbidden in our religion." She believed that we were going to practice sorcery if we continued playing it. Me: "It is in your religion." "What do you mean, your religion?" I stayed quiet, but cool cousin defended me and said, "People can believe in whatever they want, and OP here decided to be an atheist." Entitled aunt: "OP, how dare you believe in the devil?" Me: "Actually, being an atheist means—" "Shut your mouth." Crazy cousin: "Mom, that's enough. Just let him be." "No, I'm not going to let that little jerk continue being lost." After all the yelling, my mom decided to intervene. Mom: "Enough, entitled aunt. Every time you meet up with us, you try to convert us. Would you like it if I did the same to your kids?" Entitled aunt: "OP is an atheist." Mom: "So what? He's my son and I will love him no matter what." "That's it. I've had enough. If you're going to let an evil little jerk live with you, I won't." Entitled aunt grabbed a wooden statue and hurled it at me. It hit me in the eye and I went to the hospital. Cops were called and entitled aunt tried to justify her actions by saying that it was okay because I was an atheist. Obviously, that didn't work and she had to pay us $3,000 for medical bills. Entitled aunt never tried that stunt again, and of course, me and cool cousin stayed close to each other. P.S. Sorry if some phrases are a little bit off. I had to translate the argument to English. Have you ever had an entitled relative that you just couldn't stand? Boss wanted me to train my replacement, but I didn't even work there anymore. I used to work in a grocery store back in 2016. I was 16 to 17 at the time. I don't work retail anymore. But I wanted to share this story I still remember to this day. It was a pretty normal night right before the end of my shift. I was one of the few closers at my store, so it was just me, my supervisor, and a cashier. I worked the self-checkout/customer service desk. My supervisor had just collected the tills and was in the back counting, and I was starting my rounds to take back the non-perishables that were left at the registers. I also might add that our store had terrible camera placement. Basically, it showed all the registers and the supervisor's office door, which is where the safe was. This is important for later. After putting up all of the items that were left at the registers, I did my final check of the store to make sure there were no misplaced or damaged items on the floor. I find a case of beer that was leaking in our beer/wine section, and since I wasn't sure how damaged the bottom of the cardboard case was, I had to drag it to the front so I could inform my supervisor about the damaged item before taking it to the back. We kept a cart full of damaged items to be taken out by the morning crew. Since the supervisor's office is locked while they are counting the tills, I call over to her and let her know that there was a damaged case of beer and I was taking it to the back. She responds with an absent, "Okay, sounds good." So I take it to the back and place it with the rest of the damaged items and go back to the front to see if there is anything else my supervisor needs me to do before I clock out. There isn't. Next couple of days are fine as I finish up the week and wait for the next week's schedule to be posted, and I find out that I'm not scheduled for the next week. I figure there must have been a mistake as there was someone working at the same grocery store who shared my first name. I go upstairs to my manager's office and ask him about the schedule and why I wasn't scheduled. He responds with, "Oh, my bad. I forgot to tell you that you are suspended until the investigation is over. By the way, can you train your replacement today on the self-checkout/customer service desk?" Me, confused and annoyed at the moment, don't really pay attention to the second part of his comment. I ask him what he was talking about. My manager, "You were caught stealing that case of beer that you took to the back, and until the police investigation is complete, you won't be working here anymore. Please turn in your uniform, name tag, and badge." I am furious, but I decide that I would just go with a bit of MC in the situation. "Well, boss man, I took the damaged case of beer to the back to be thrown out in the morning as per procedure, but since I won't be working here anymore, I guess you will just have to find someone else to train my replacement, since I clearly can't be trusted." I was the only person who could train someone for the customer service desk other than him. His jaw dropped. The look on his face was priceless as I took off my uniform and handed him my name tag and override card. I then proceeded to walk out, get in my car, and drive home. About 2 years later, I joined the Army, and I'm going for a job that required a security clearance. Guess what shows up? That suspension with an unfinished police report and the tapes from the security camera. I sit there with my interviewer as we watch the tape together, clearly showing that I did not steal anything. Needless to say, I was approved for my clearance. I ask if I can get a copy of the tape, and my interviewer agrees. It took 2 years, but I finally had the evidence I needed to sue for wrongful termination. But as the time is well over the statute of limitation, I am unable to actually do anything about it. Either way, I decide to go pay my old workplace a visit over my Christmas block leave, and a couple people recognize me, including my old boss. He tells me that thieves like me aren't welcome in his store, and that I need to leave or he would be calling the police. I told him to call them, and that his claim would surely hold up when I showed them the copy of the video footage of me stealing. The store had one of my favorite muffins, and honestly, I really wanted one since they are only made there. The police got called and did nothing, and I got 3 muffins free of charge thanks to my favorite supervisor. Worth it. Guy who stole $2,000 worth of equipment from our store came back the same day we found out what he looked like. I work at a relatively new grocery store in a small town in Washington. We've only been open for around 9 months, and our customer count has been going up recently, so it gets a bit harder to keep track of customers. I usually work as a cashier most of the week on the closing shift, but I'll also throw freight in the aisles at least 2 days a week. Anyways, here's the story. So in our stockroom, we have 4 handheld scanners on docks, ready to be used by employees and managers to check prices, print tags, etc. On St. Patrick's Day, we somehow lost 2 of them. These things are worth a lot of money, and at first, we thought 2 managers had just misplaced them. For the past month, they've been trying to track them with the tile trackers they put on each device, and they've always shown to be just outside or even in our parking lot. The owners were obviously confused and have been trying to figure out what happened to them. Yesterday, I came in for my shift as the closing cashier. I grabbed my uniform from my locker, put on my face mask, and grabbed my handset. As I'm in the front office getting my radio, one of the owners grabs my attention and shows me a printout of the security cameras. From now on, I'll just put them as Owner 1 and Owner 2. Owner 1. So, we just found out who took our handhelds. It turns out he just walked straight to the back and just took them off the docks and walked right back out. We're pretty sure you were on your break at that point. Did you see him? The break room is just inside of the stock room, but there aren't any windows or anything besides a slim one-way window on the door. Me. I didn't see him, but he does look familiar. I'll keep an eye out for him. Owner 2. If you see him, let us know. That's very valuable equipment he stole. Me. Yes, sir. I'll let you know if I see him. I walk out and clock in. So, I'm going about my normal shift. I count in my till. I do some facing around the store since there are 2 cashiers up front currently. Then it happens. 15 minutes after I switch out registers with the opening cashier, the guy walks right in and grabs a basket. At first, I didn't recognize him. Even on the picture, he just looked like any ordinary guy. Luckily, our front-end manager has years of experience, so she spotted him, no problem. So she goes and faces the area he's in, acting like she's making it look pretty, and he's really interested in the chicken that's right next to the stock room. Anyways, a few minutes later, he comes up with a full basket of goodies. As he's talking to me, I hear the manager telling owner 2 he's in my line and he's being rung up. I freeze for a second because I couldn't say anything. Luckily, I had a mask on, so he couldn't see the look of shock come across my face. Anyways, owner 2 comes up and is acting like he's helping me bag. Then he suddenly starts a conversation with him. Owner 2: "Hey, have you come into this store before?" Thief: "Yeah, a few times. I'm a pretty frequent shopper." Owner 2: "Okay, cool. Have you been here around March 17th? Thief immediately starts acting nervous. Not that I know of." Owner 2: "Alright." Stops bagging. "Hang on 1 second, I'll be right back." Owner 2 went to the front office. I'm guessing to grab the printout they showed me earlier, and Thief is just sputtering. Suddenly, Thief just looks up, does a 180, and just starts walking out in the middle of my transaction. I actually had to shut down my register so I didn't get a line going. So I then pull out my radio. The mic remote won't work, probably from the rain, and alert owner 2 he's trying to walk out, and he just Usain Bolts out the door after him, probably trying to ask him why he stole the handhelds. And then, as owner 2 is getting the guy's license plate, Thief tried to run him over with his car, probably in view of the front surveillance camera. So the cops are called, charges are pressed, and now they know who he is. He's probably done this before now that I think about it, and I'm just in shock. Afterwards, I was profusely apologizing for not noticing it was him in the first place, but the manager just reassured me that I just didn't have experience in identifying people like that. She had around 9 years of experience to boot. That's why she was able to spot him. Anyways, let's hope there's an end to that whole deal and we can get our 2 handhelds back. Update: I forgot to mention that when he stole those handhelds, he did it with no hesitation and like he knew what he was doing. It was an insane breach of privacy and no one even noticed. Leave the store open with poo everywhere? Okay, boss. So, while I was at university, I had a side job managing a team at a very popular sandwich branch. Myself, Joe, and Johnny would work the night shift, 8 p.m. to 4 a.m., and I would work Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night as the shop was opposite the only nightclub in town. Very upper-class city during the day, but a very trashy nightlife. It would get so busy after 2 a.m. with drunks that queues would be out the door, and we would have to put away tables and chairs to block the toilets, as people would either throw them at us or each other, or dash off to the toilets to do things they shouldn't be doing back there. This, however, happened at around 9 p.m. Nice and quiet time. Nothing interesting usually happens during this time, and the owner of the restaurant would call in every half hour to see how the shop is doing, because he's worried about losing money by requiring 3 whole employees to prepare for the night rush. A group of around 15 girls run in, all really drunk. Cool, serve them, get rid of them. Happens occasionally, but we still got some time before the mass comes. One of the larger girls collapses against the wall on the floor, looks passed out. Her friends don't take any notice, but we are all first aid trained. I get Joe to go check on her. She waves him off, shouts at him. Fine, back to work. 10 minutes later, the smell. Oh Lord, the smell. The store is actually pretty busy, but after realizing what had happened, we had to stop serving and kick everybody out of the store because of the health hazard I was about to witness. We kick out her friends and she's still asleep. Myself and John lift her to a safe location while John calls an ambulance in case there's anything wrong. The smell gets worse as we lift her. I felt sick. I turned to look back and I saw the largest pile of literal crap. None of us wanted to go anywhere near it, but a joint effort between the 3 of us had it cleaned up within minutes. I wasn't going to risk anything, so I left the air on full blast and prepared to lock up for the rest of the night. Incoming phone call. It basically went down as, "How's the store?" We had an accident, so we had to close. What? Under no circumstances are you ever to close early. Yes, but no buts. Open back up immediately, or I'll fire all 3 of you. We throw away anything perishable that wasn't covered. We didn't have a lot out, but still, not risking anything else that could lose me my oh-so-precious part-time job. We then proceed to take a 30-minute break to let the store ventilate and have the smell go, like it would. Huge group of lads come to the store while we're outside and starts a fight with Joe because we were closed. I tell the lad what happened and why we were closed, but he was having none of it. Said he knew the owner and was a law student and would have me sued for false closure. Enlighten me. I can't get sued for something like this, can I? He calls the owner, and surely enough, I immediately get a call back. Open the store now, or I'll fire you on the spot. I tell him to wait up a couple of seconds while I deal with the customer. I tell Joe to start recording the call. Sorry, I didn't catch what you previously said. Could you repeat? Open the store, or you're fired. I repeat our previous conversation, explaining why I had closed the store and that it was a critical food hazard until it was cleaned properly. Most heavy-duty cleaning materials that could have appropriately cleaned up the mess were locked away by the owner until morning because we wouldn't have time. I don't think you understood what I said, OP. Open the store! All right, will do, boss. So I continue to open the store. Customers start flooding in. I get all fresh ingredients out to start rushing through the humongous line we were amassing. A lot of customers are turning their noses once they walk in, but like I said, trashy. These people are hungry. They line up anyway. Some customers are throwing up from the smell. It was really that bad. Asked me what was up. I told them that if I were to close, I would lose my job. Police show up and close up the shop for us. Thank God. I was waiting for something like this to happen. We didn't even have to clean up. We just got told to go home and they would sort it out with the owner tomorrow because the city had a reputation to uphold. I ended up getting fired because I closed the store. But instead of just getting fired, I ended up taking it to court for unfair dismissal and got a month's payout, and the owner had an emergency health inspection the morning after. The guy lost his branch. He works as a security guard at a grocery store now, working for the security guard he previously hired to look after us after 1 a.m. Pretty sure he ended up losing his house and car too. Forget that guy. Entitled Mom yells at me for drinking on my own porch. This happened yesterday. It was really nice out, so I thought I'd take a break from writing all my papers to sit out on my porch with a nice glass of wine. Since I live on the first floor of the complex, I have a small green patch where I have a bird feeder set up and some flowers. Past that is the public sidewalk, and there are no fences, so it's all pretty open. I take a chair out the sliding glass door onto the patio/porch, leave the screen door closed so my cats can get a bit of the outdoor air, and plop down and pour myself a glass of Cabernet. At that point in the day, the sunlight was right on my porch, so my cats were laying in the sunbeam right behind me. As I'm just watching the day go by, seeing the occasional dog on a walk, or people just taking a stroll, a little kid about 5 or so came up into my view, trying to jump from sidewalk square to square. I hear the mom somewhere out of my line of sight say, "Don't go too far ahead." So he stops where he is and looks around. He sees me and my cats in behind the screen. "Look, Mom," he says, "those kitties are the same color as S'more." I guess his cat is also a calico. By this point, the mom catches up and glances in my direction to see what he's pointing at. "Oh yeah?" she says. Then she looks over to me and her tone quickly changes. "What the heck are you doing?" "Me?" I said, a bit thrown back. "Yes, you. What do you think you're doing? You can't drink here. These are student dorms." These are actually just apartments, unaffiliated with the university. But since they're across from the campus, pretty much only students live here, so many think it's another dorm. Me. "I'm over 21. "No, you're not. These are student dorms." I guess she forgot that students can also be over 21. "I'm pretty sure I'm over 21. "Don't you talk back to me. Get rid of that drink right now. You can't drink in public." I guess she decided to switch gears on how to get rid of my drink. She starts walking towards me. Her kid comes too, I guess wanting a closer look at my cats. "Lady, I'm on my own porch. I can drink wine if I want." She clearly didn't like me talking back. She got angry. "I said get rid of that drink." She continued to approach, yelling at me like I'm her kid, and I won't put my toys away. By that point, the kid was on my porch looking at my cats through the porch screen. No." I take a sip. "Get rid of it, or I'm taking it." By this point, she's right in front of me, face red, hands on her hips, looming over me, like that's gonna work on a 26-year-old. "No, now get off my porch," I said, standing up with my voice raised. By then, the cats had run off and the boy was bummed. We continue to stare down each other. "I'm on my own porch. I'm not hurting anyone, and I'm 26. I'll drink on my porch if I want." I take another swig in front of her. Entitled Mom then smacks the wine out of my hand, and it nearly lands on her kid as it shatters on the floor. "What the heck, lady?" I told you to get rid of that drink, she yells, not at all worried that the drink could have hit him. Forget you! I shoved her and tried to pick up the big pieces so he wouldn't get cut by them. He was wearing sandals. Her kid runs off back to the sidewalk. How dare you push me? How dare you destroy my property? Get the heck off my porch, or… I started waving around the broken glass pieces, and she took that as a threat. Are you threatening me? I actually wasn't. I just get expressive with my hands when I'm mad, and I happen to have the broken glass in them. But by this point, I'm fed up with this jerk. Yes! Now get off my property! By this point, we had attracted a couple of onlookers, which entitled mom finally noticed. She looked around and saw a couple on the sidewalk gawking at her, as well as my neighbor sitting on his porch nearby. She looks around. Her face, which was red with anger, was now red with embarrassment. She huffs and puffs and spins around, grabbing her kid's hand, and speed walks away from all of us as fast as she can. My neighbor asked if I was okay. I said I was fine, just annoyed. I swept up the broken glass, went back inside, poured another glass, and watched some JoJo to get my mind off things. Weird jerk. Entitled parent at my work demands that I pay for her and her kids to rock climb. Backstory. I work at a rock climbing gym. As an employee, I get a free membership. I get to climb for free, and I get 2 guest passes that are renewed 30 days after being used. I had already used both passes to climb with some friends. This is relevant later. I was working a nice morning shift. All the regular early customers had pretty much been signed in and paid for, and then Karen, entitled parent, walked in with a few of her kids. I actually recognized her. I was friends with her oldest son a long time ago, but I hadn't seen their family since the 4th grade, and she didn't recognize me, so I stayed quiet. The first register on the right side of the front desk was taken by another customer, so I called her over to the register on the left. For whatever reason, the left register only accepts card, no cash, just remember that. Entitled parent walks up, tells me what she needs to buy, what gear to rent, etc. When it's time for her to pay, she pulls out several $20 bills. Me. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention it. This register doesn't accept cash. Do you have a card? Entitled parent looks at me like some pond scum just started speaking to her. What? What are you even talking about? This little sign says, pay with cash to support local businesses. I'm trying to support local businesses, and your sign is totally wrong, so I would just take that down. Looking at her, I couldn't help but think, oh, you poor, poor rich woman. You have to put your wad of cash back in your nice purse. How sad. Anyway, I probably said something epically clever as an apology, like, sorry. So she stuffs her money back in her purse and pulls out some coupons. But you aren't allowed to combine coupons of the same deal for the same purchase, something like that. So I told her, and then she gave me this talk about customer service and told me all about how my rules were wrong. My rules? I have the lowest possible position of the employees. The rules aren't mine. So I just gave her her way and let her use her gift cards. But she wasn't done. The rest of her rant went something like this. Listen, buddy, I've been standing here far too long. My kids just want to climb. First you trick me with your stupid sign trying to get my cash, and then you tell me my coupons aren't valid? This customer service is terrible. Can you give me a cashier who doesn't act stupid? Do you have a membership here? I was getting a little upset. It was a weird way to end her little speech, but I told her I was a member. So that means you have some free passes. I read your website. For all the trouble you just caused me, you need to use your passes on me and my kids, and you should also pay for our climbing gear. Me. What? Well, I only have 2, and they are already used, and you can't ask me to pay for you. I actually have used my passes to pay for families who were a couple dollars short. But again, I didn't have any, and this lady was just the worst. I have the lowest position the job offers, and I'm not allowed to ask people to leave the gym. What did you say to me, you little jerk? My kids rock climb all the time. They're good enough that you should pay for them. How dare you tell me what I can't do? Take me to your manager, boy. I'm going to get you fired, and I'm going to make you pay for us. Basically, her logic in her speech was that I didn't have kids, and I'm the one with the job, so I should just pay for her. I actually didn't know what to say. The climbing community is extremely friendly, so I have never had a rude customer come in. She poked her head behind the desk and grabbed the computers towards her so she could look at it and tell me how to give her my passes, and I grabbed the computer and told her to stop. Assault! I'm reporting you. Me. That isn't assault. You sure can speak to my boss. I would love to see what she has to say. She kept going on, and I had kept calm the whole time, but I told her to shut up. I don't remember what she said. She was going crazy yelling. We got to my boss. I started explaining what happened, but she cut me off. No. First he wouldn't let me pay. He assaulted me and made fun of my kids. You need to make him pay for me and my kids to climb. My boss calmed her down, and I told my boss exactly what happened. And sure enough, my coworker confirmed I was right, and my boss checked the cameras and saw exactly what happened. Entitled Parent was asked to leave, was not banned from the facility, but was asked to not come back. I actually just feel bad about this whole thing. Like I said, I used to be friends with her son, and it's a rather bitter memory now. For the record, they're mostly a very nice family, and I even saw one of her kids tell her she was being rude during the whole thing. Even though she was acting really stupid, I don't hate her, but I would prefer not to see her again. Hope you enjoyed this. I didn't. And shoutouts to our Regenerals of the day: Moonblood, Finn Cooper, Nameless Husky, Moki Likes Tea, Luna Harmony, and Aiden. Become tomorrow's Regenerals by leaving as many reads as you can in the comments below, and please listen to my playlist every night when you go to sleep.